After the relocation in 2005, the Railroad Artifact Preservation Society still had much to do. The locomotive and tender needed to be reconnected, the drawbar welded back together, track ties adjusted, and dripping oil stopped and cleaned up. The site needed to be landscaped, and a security fence needed to be installed around the locomotive. The entire locomotive would need to be repainted to keep it from deteriorating further, but before that could be done, the locomotive would have to have all the grease and oil removed. On August 29, 2005, the work was started. We will be discussing the major steps of the restoration. Cleaning process. As the engine rolled down the street, the mechanical lubricators pumped 90-weight oil to various locations of the valve gear. Grease from the dozens of alemite fittings was on all the moving parts. The entire locomotive and tender was pressure washed many times during the restoration process. Volunteers would scrape off the grease as much as possible, reduce what was left with solvent, then wash the locomotive again. All this work was done by hand using various types of paint scrapers, rags, solvents, and detergents. The process had to be repeated many times before the locomotive was clean enough to paint. Peeling paint and rust removal. Many places on the boiler jacket, sand domes, feedwater heater, stack, and so forth were down to bare metal and rust covered. To get these areas ready for painting, the following technique was used. Electric 4-inch grinders, with a wire brush installed instead of a grinding disc, were used to remove rust and peeling paint. The grinders were used on every surface possible since this was the fastest method. Hand scraping and wire brushing had to be done in tight spots or anywhere the grinders wouldn't fit. Restoration work on a steam locomotive is hard work that has to be done in the spring and summer. When the sun is shining, the locomotive's black metal surfaces get very hot. Even on a relatively cool day, in the 70s, the black surfaces of the engine can be 100 degrees or more. Scaffolding was built to assist with this work, but many times the volunteer would have to crawl up on top of the locomotive, hold on with one hand, and work with the other. It's about 18 feet to the ground. After grinding, the area would be immediately primed to protect the metal until the finish coat of black could be applied. The primer won't protect the metal for an extended time, unless it is covered by the finish coat. Therefore, the work must be coordinated so that the finish coat of black is applied over the primer, no later than 7 days after applying. This coordination can be tricky using volunteers and dealing with the Texas weather. The boiler jacket area above the scaffolding was done first. The entire area was wire cleaned, wire brushed, primed, and painted before work was done below the scaffolding. This allowed the volunteers to get an entire area finished before moving on. After completing the boiler jacket, we started on the front of the locomotive. This area was in fairly good shape and didn't require so much grinding and primer. We worked on the tender trucks and sides of the locomotive below the scaffolding. This area had the highest concentration of grease and oil. It is a difficult area to paint because there are so many pipes, round parts, and other odd surfaces to cover. It was fortunate that there wasn't as much rust and peeling paint in that area. Both sides of the locomotive below the scaffolding and 3 of the 4 tender truck side frames were sprayed in one workday. Carpentry. The windows made in the first restoration were deteriorated and had to be replaced. They were not made of the right kind of wood, and some had plexiglass instead of real glass. The plexiglass panels had fogged and were hard to see through. New windows were made from ash hardwood according to Santa Fe specification. Since the locomotive was on display outdoors, we installed automotive-type glass. This kind of glass would break into small pieces and help prevent serious injury if it broke and fell to the ground. Sam D. Teague made CAD drawings of all the windows so a permanent record would be available in the future. Finish and details. The various gauges in the cab were cosmetically restored. Each gauge was removed and tagged with information about its location and use. Chuck Barth, one of our volunteers, took the gauges to his shop and restored them. Each gauge was disassembled and cleaned. Then the gauges were inspected to see what restoration work needed to be performed. The cab floor was refinished to preserve the wood replaced in the first restoration. A stairway with handrail was constructed out of steel. This would allow visitors and volunteers to safely enter the cab. The stairway was built by one of our volunteers, Jimmy Barnes. Jimmy owned a sign business in Amarillo at the time. The stairway was a great help to everyone and made visiting and working on the Madam Queen a lot easier. Many people helped the Society over the years to restore the 5,000. There are too many to list here, but we thank them all, and the Society appreciates every one of them who volunteered and donated to preserve Madam Queen.